Life has a way of testing every one of us. It pushes, it pressures, it squeezes us in moments when we least expect it. The real challenge is not found in the calm days when everything feels balanced, but in those moments when you are surrounded by chaos, when nothing seems to be under your control, and when every situation feels designed to provoke you. It is in these moments that your character, your discipline, and your ability to remain centered are revealed. Staying calm when everything pushes you is not about pretending difficulties do not exist, nor is it about suppressing emotions until you break. It is about cultivating a strength within yourself that is greater than the storm around you, learning to master your responses, and creating space between what happens and how you choose to react. Imagine yourself standing in the middle of a storm. The winds are loud, the rain is heavy, and the force of nature is overwhelming. If you try to fight against the storm, you will exhaust yourself. If you panic, you will lose direction. But if you ground yourself, if you steady your breathing, if you stay calm, you find the ability to navigate. Life's storms are no different. When problems, criticisms, setbacks, and unexpected changes push against you, the natural reaction may be to panic, to fight, or to collapse. But panic closes your vision, fear clouds your judgment, and anger makes you weaker. Calmness, on the other hand, opens the space for clarity. Calmness allows you to think when others are consumed by noise. Calmness gives you the strength to decide wisely instead of reacting blindly. To stay calm under pressure is not a gift you are born with, it is a skill that you train. Just as a muscle becomes stronger through consistent effort, your ability to remain centered grows through practice. Every time you face a difficult situation and resist the temptation to explode, you are strengthening that muscle. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you breathe instead of breaking, every time you observe instead of immediately judging, you are building the capacity to stay calm no matter how strong the push from outside becomes. This is the true power of inner discipline, and it is a power that can transform every aspect of your life. Consider how the mind behaves under stress. When challenges come, the brain wants to revert to instinctive reactions: fight, flight, or freeze. These reactions are useful for survival, but they are not always useful for growth. Survival instincts keep you alive, but calm awareness helps you thrive. When you allow panic to take over, you make choices you later regret. Words are spoken in anger that cannot be taken back. Decisions are made in fear that lead to limitations. But when you stay calm, when you create that pause, you gain perspective. You see that the challenge is not the end. It is an event, a situation, a passing storm. You begin to recognize that you are larger than the problem because you have the power to choose your response. Staying calm does not mean you feel nothing. It does not mean you ignore frustration, fear, or sadness. It means you recognize those emotions, but you do not let them control you. Emotions are signals, not commands. They tell you something about what is happening, but they do not have to dictate your actions. Calmness is the art of listening to the emotion without becoming enslaved by it. It is the ability to acknowledge the fire without letting it burn your judgment. When you master this, you carry a strength that cannot be easily broken by circumstances. In moments when everything pushes you, calmness becomes your greatest shield. When people criticize you, calmness prevents you from reacting with insecurity. When plans fail, calmness prevents you from falling into despair. When opportunities close, calmness prevents you from believing that all hope is lost. Instead, calmness gives you space to ask better questions. What can I learn from this? How can I approach this differently? What opportunity might be hidden here? This mindset does not appear when you are consumed by panic. It only emerges when the waters of the mind are still enough to reflect clearly. Think about leaders who inspire trust. Think about mentors, teachers, or even friends you admire. They are rarely the ones who shout the loudest or panic the fastest. They are the ones who remain composed when others fall apart. Their calmness becomes contagious. Their presence makes others feel safe. This is not because they never feel fear or stress. It is because they have learned to carry those feelings with grace instead of letting them explode outward. When you train yourself to stay calm when everything pushes you, you also become a source of strength for others. Your calmness becomes a stabilizing force in environments of chaos. Life will never stop testing you. Challenges will not disappear simply because you wish for easier days. But the good news is that you do not need the world to become easier. You need yourself to become stronger. Calmness is that strength. Calmness gives you control over yourself when you cannot control the outside world. And in truth, the outside world has never been in your control. The weather changes, people change, circumstances shift, opportunities appear and disappear. The only constant power you truly have is the ability to manage yourself. Calmness is mastery over yourself, and when you have that mastery, no storm can defeat you. To cultivate calmness, you must first learn the art of pausing. A pause is small, but it is powerful. Between the push of life and your reaction, there is a small space. Most people rush through it without realizing it exists. But if you expand that space, even by a few seconds, you create the chance to redirect yourself. You take a deep breath, you ground your body, you observe the situation, and then you choose your response. That choice is the difference between chaos and clarity. It is the difference between a chain of regrets and a path of wisdom. Practice pausing often, and soon it becomes natural. Another part of staying calm is perspective. Often, what feels unbearable in the moment becomes small when you step back. You might remember a situation years ago that once felt impossible to overcome, yet today it holds no power over you. The same will be true for the challenges you face now. Calmness helps you see that difficulties are temporary, that setbacks are not final, and that growth often hides behind discomfort. Perspective transforms the weight of the moment into an opportunity for resilience. When everything pushes you, calmness is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is controlled strength. It is the wisdom of choosing not to waste energy fighting storms you cannot stop, but instead conserving that energy to guide yourself through them. Anger is loud but weak. Panic is fast but blind. Calmness is quiet but unshakable. Calmness does not need to announce itself. It shows itself in your steady actions, in your thoughtful words, in your composed presence. The world around you will always have noise, demands, pressures, and distractions. But your inner world can remain unshaken. Train your mind daily in small moments. Practice calmness in traffic, in conversations, in disappointments. Every small practice builds the muscle so that when greater storms come, you are ready. Calmness is not something you find only in meditation rooms or peaceful places. It is something you carry into the chaos of daily life, and the more you carry it, the more natural it becomes. Remember, storms will pass. Criticism will fade. Failures will become lessons, but the way you respond to them becomes part of who you are. If you allow yourself to break every time life pushes you, you weaken. If you remain calm, you grow stronger. Calmness is not a retreat. It is a preparation. It is the foundation that allows you to rebuild after every storm, the anchor that keeps you steady in every push, the fire that burns slowly but never goes out. So the next time life pushes you, do not panic. Do not let the outside world control your inner state. Breathe, observe, pause, and respond with clarity. Remember that calmness is strength, calmness is discipline, and calmness is the way you take your power back. Everything around you can push, but if you remain calm, nothing can break you. Calmness is not weakness. Many people mistake composure for fragility, silence for passivity, or patience for a lack of courage. But the reality is far different. Calmness is one of the greatest demonstrations of strength, because it is the power to hold yourself steady when everything around you is trying to pull you apart. It is the ability to remain collected when the pressure rises, to keep clarity when emotions try to cloud your judgment, and to stay rooted when the world pushes hardest. Weakness reacts impulsively, but strength chooses wisely. Calmness is that strength in motion. Think about it. When you face a situation that provokes anger, fear, or panic, it is easy to lose control. Most people will explode, withdraw, or make quick decisions they later regret. But those who can remain calm in those same moments reveal a discipline far greater than raw emotion. It is not that they feel nothing. They feel the same frustrations, the same pressure, the same fear. The difference is that they refuse to be ruled by those feelings. Instead of becoming a prisoner of their emotions, they direct their energy with intention. That is not weakness, it is mastery. Calmness under pressure is like standing in the middle of a storm while remaining unshaken. The winds howl, the rain pours, the noise is overwhelming, yet you stand firm, not because the storm is small, but because your foundation is strong. People may misunderstand this. They may think you are unaffected or unaware. But in truth, you are deeply aware. You see the storm, you feel its force, but you choose not to surrender to it. That choice requires courage, because it is far easier to be swept away by chaos than to stay steady against it. Controlled strength is a discipline that is built through repetition. It does not appear overnight. Every time life challenges you, you are given an opportunity to practice. When someone provokes you and you resist the urge to lash out, you grow stronger. When a situation frustrates you and you pause instead of reacting, you build resilience. When pressure mounts and you choose patience over panic, you develop control. Each small act of calmness is like adding another brick to the foundation of your inner strength. Over time, this foundation becomes unshakable. Notice how people behave when tested. Some allow their emotions to control every word, every action, every decision. Their mood becomes their master. One push from the outside and they collapse. Another push and they lose direction. But those who stay calm show a different kind of power. They are not puppets of circumstance. They remain steady regardless of what others do. Their calmness allows them to think clearly, to act with precision, and to respond in ways that actually solve the problem instead of making it worse. This is why calmness is never weakness. It is a superior strength that multiplies your effectiveness when everything is at stake. Controlled strength also inspires trust. People feel safe around those who remain calm in chaos. When you see someone who does not break under pressure, you begin to believe in their ability to lead, to protect, to decide. Calmness is not loud, yet it communicates authority. It does not shout, yet it carries weight. A calm presence can settle the nerves of a room filled with fear. A calm voice can restore focus in a situation of panic. This influence is not accidental. It comes from the mastery of self, and to master yourself is far harder than to control anything outside of you. Weakness often hides behind aggression, noise, and panic. People sometimes raise their voices not because they are strong, but because they are uncertain. They rush into actions not because they are decisive, but because they are afraid to wait. They show anger not because they are powerful, but because they feel powerless. True strength is quieter. True strength does not need to prove itself. Calmness is that quiet strength. It does not seek validation because it knows its own power. When the world pushes hardest, calmness becomes your anchor. Without it, you drift with every wave of circumstance. With it, you steer through storms. Calmness is not about ignoring reality. It is about responding to reality in the most effective way. If a fire breaks out, panic does not put it out. Anger does not put it out. Calmness does. Calmness allows you to think, to act, to lead, to solve. That is why calmness is not weakness. It is the most practical strength you can carry into every challenge. Imagine facing criticism. If you panic, you defend yourself recklessly. If you respond with anger, you escalate conflict. But if you remain calm, you can listen, separate what is useful from what is not, and respond intelligently. Imagine facing failure. If you react with despair, you stop moving forward. If you react with denial, you repeat the same mistake. But if you remain calm, you learn, you adapt, you rise again stronger. Calmness does not eliminate difficulty, but it transforms your ability to handle it. Calmness is also an act of self-respect. When you remain calm under pressure, you refuse to let external forces dictate your internal state. You say to yourself, I choose how I respond, no matter what happens outside me. That choice is an affirmation of your freedom. It is a declaration that your peace is not at the mercy of others, that your clarity is not controlled by chaos. Calmness gives you back the ownership of your life. Without it, you are always a victim of circumstance. With it, you are always in control of yourself. Life will push you. It will test you with delays, failures, criticism, and uncertainty. You cannot stop the pushes, but you can decide how you respond. Calmness is the difference between breaking under pressure and standing firm through it. It is not weakness, it is controlled strength. It is the power to choose clarity over confusion, patience over panic, wisdom over impulse. It is the quiet but undeniable strength that allows you to stand when the world tries to push you down. So the next time life presses against you, remember this truth. Calmness is not weakness. It is proof of mastery. It is the shield that protects your clarity, the foundation that keeps you steady, and the force that allows you to rise above storms without being broken by them. Weakness reacts. Strength responds. Calmness is the highest response you can choose, and it is the power that allows you to remain unshaken when everything pushes hardest. When chaos surrounds you, it can feel overwhelming. The noise of the world, the unpredictability of situations, the pressure from circumstances, and the weight of responsibilities often collide at the same time. In those moments, it is natural to feel as if you are being pulled in every direction, with no place of stability to hold onto. But the truth is, chaos can only defeat you if you invite it into your inner space. The storm outside has no true power until it enters your mind, until it takes hold of your emotions, until it dictates your thoughts and actions. The challenge, therefore, is not to stop the storm from existing, but to prevent the storm from entering you. Picture yourself standing on the edge of a turbulent sea. The waves crash violently, the wind howls, and the horizon looks unstable. If you dive into those waters without preparation, the chaos of the ocean will consume you. But if you remain on solid ground, observing with composure, you are safe. Life is very similar. The external world is full of storms, conflict, failure, setbacks, criticism, unexpected changes. You cannot calm the sea with your hands, you cannot silence the wind, but you can control what happens inside you. If you remain calm, if you protect your inner world, the storm cannot break you. Chaos outside is temporary. Circumstances shift, situations change, and storms pass. But if you let that chaos inside, it lingers long after the storm is gone. When you allow panic, anger, or despair to dominate your inner state, the storm continues even when the world has already calmed down. This is why guarding your inner calm is so essential. It is not about ignoring reality. It is about refusing to let external disorder become internal destruction. You cannot stop challenges, but you can choose not to let them own your peace. Think about the strongest structures in nature. A mountain stands unmoved while storms rage around it. The wind cannot uproot it, the rain cannot wash it away. It remains steady because its foundation is deep. In the same way, your calmness is your foundation. If your calmness is deep, chaos can swirl around you, but it will not shake you to the core. People may misunderstand calmness, thinking it means indifference or weakness. But true calmness is strength. It is the discipline to maintain stability when everything else is unstable. It is the choice to be your own anchor instead of being tossed endlessly by the waves of life. The reason chaos feels so powerful is because it demands your attention. It shouts, it pulls, it provokes. The moment you give in to it, the moment you let it dominate your focus, it begins to control your behavior. This is why so many people make poor choices in times of stress. They allow the outside noise to become inside noise. They let the storm inside, and once it is inside, it multiplies. But those who train themselves to remain calm see the storm for what it is, noise that will eventually pass. They do not let it dictate their direction. They understand that peace inside is always more valuable than control outside. When chaos surrounds you, the greatest act of strength is to slow down your response. The instinct is to rush, to react, to fight against the pressure, but rushing often creates more chaos. Reacting without clarity often worsens the situation. Calmness, however, creates space. It allows you to think, to breathe, to see more than just the immediate storm. It gives you the perspective to understand that this moment, no matter how intense, is not the entire story of your life. It is a chapter, not the whole book. That perspective comes only when you are calm. It is important to remember that calmness does not remove the storm. It simply prevents the storm from becoming you. If you remain calm, you are still in the middle of difficulties, but you are no longer consumed by them. You can walk through the fire without letting it burn your mind. You can move through the noise without letting it drown your clarity. This is the kind of strength that separates those who are broken by challenges from those who are strengthened by them. The world will always have chaos. There will always be conflict, uncertainty, criticism, and difficulty. If you wait for the world to become peaceful before you allow yourself to be peaceful, you will wait forever. The secret is to build peace within yourself, to create a state of calm that is independent of what happens outside. When you carry that kind of calmness, you become unshakable. You are no longer at the mercy of external events. The storm can rage, but it does not define you. The noise can surround you, but it does not control you. Calmness within also gives you a greater ability to influence the outside world. When others are panicking, your calmness becomes an anchor for them. When others are confused, your composure becomes guidance. When others are overwhelmed, your presence becomes reassurance. This is why those who cultivate inner calm often become natural leaders, not because they control others, but because they control themselves. In a chaotic world, people look to those who remain steady, and you can only remain steady when you protect your calmness within. Chaos will try to enter through your thoughts. It will whisper doubts. It will amplify fears. It will replay failures. Guard your thoughts, because they are the doors through which chaos enters. Do not feed panic with repeated negative thinking. Do not fuel anger by replaying the same story again and again. Direct your mind instead toward clarity. Remind yourself that storms are temporary, that you have faced difficulty before and risen, that calmness gives you the advantage to overcome. These reminders are not denial, they are strength. When you learn to stay calm within, life changes. You begin to notice that problems lose their ability to dominate you. Criticism loses its sharpness. Failure loses its finality. You realize that calmness is not the absence of storms, but the ability to walk through them with grace. You understand that peace is not something the world gives you, but something you choose to carry inside, and once you carry it, the storm outside cannot break you. So the next time chaos surrounds you, pause. Breathe. Remind yourself that the storm is outside, not inside. Protect your calmness the way you would protect your most valuable treasure, because it is. Do not give it away to noise, to anger, to panic. Stand firm in your calmness, because when the storm passes, and it always passes, you will still be standing, stronger than before, unbroken, unshaken, and untouched within.